Hey everyone, Flora Sage here. Let me grab my coffee. So, this is Friday, right? And Monday, I talked to you guys about calling bullshit on yourself and how I looked at my list. Let me grab my list. And yes, I do put it on a clipboard when I work outside because the wind blows this way. My sheet doesn't blow all over the place, and I have a rubber band at the bottom to keep it together. So, Monday I came to you and I shared with you how I was looking at my list for the week and was like, wait a minute, I could totally get all this done today. And I did. I got all of my stuff done on Monday for the week. And what did that give me? That gave me freedom to do whatever I wanted the rest of the week. I created a new program. I launched the program. I had people sign up for the program. I was able to take care of other projects that I wanted to do. I called bullshit on myself. That's what I did. And because I called bullshit on myself, meaning, bullshit, this won't take me a whole week. I'll be able to get all this done today if I really stay focused. And then that way, that's going to make room for other things in my life. So, this is my question for you. Did you call bullshit on yourself? Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Haley. Yay! So did you call bullshit on yourself? And what impact did that make in your life? Sorry I look so dark and that it's kind of washed out. The contrast is so huge. But anyway, what did you call bullshit on yourself on this week? And what impact did that make on your life? And if you didn't call bullshit on yourself, this is your time to do it. And the benefits of calling bullshit on yourself are immense. Immense. Because when we put up with something that is less than ideal, or we make excuses why things have to be a certain way, and we make excuses for what we do and what we don't do, then what happens is you hold yourself back. You literally are limiting yourself. You're giving yourself an excuse to half-ass it. And nobody wants a half-ass. You should whole-ass everything, right? So if you're in a marriage, are you giving 50%, the whole 50-50 thing, or are you giving 100%? If you're in a relationship where everybody's giving 50-50, or both of you are giving 50-50, then you're both half-assing it. Of course it's not going to work, you know? If you are in a relationship where one person is giving 50% and the other person is giving 150%, well, of course you're going to be miserable. Hello? Because they're only half-assing it, and you're trying to double-ass it, you know? So you have to give yourself permission to call bullshit when you see it. And how do you know when to call bullshit? How do you know when to say enough is enough? Well, first of all, you could say, okay, this is stupid, this is not my shit. You could say, not my circus, not my monkeys. I actually have a mug like this. Here's a little monkey. Yay! But you could focus on what's not your stuff to deal with and stop dealing with it. So many times, people take responsibility that's not theirs. They do things that is not their obligation. And when you do things that are not your obligation, you start to feel resentful, you start to feel burnt out because you're doing double duty. So the first things first is first and foremost recognize I'm not feeling in flow, I'm not feeling good. What's the deal? What's the dealio, people? And then say, okay, I'm doing this and this is not my shit. This is not my stuff. So I'm just going to stop doing it and tell whoever is supposed to be doing it, hey, this is your stuff, you do it. I'm going to focus on my shit. And then also look at the excuses that are coming up when you're planning. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Jen. You know, seriously, what excuses are you telling yourself when you're planning your week, when you're planning your day, when you're planning an outing, when you're doing anything, and you make an excuse? Oh, I'd love to do this. Oh, but so-and-so doesn't like to do that. Well, screw so-and-so. Go do it yourself, you know. I remember the last time I was married, this actually happened, I think, in my first and my third marriages. I wanted to go for a walk, and I wanted to go hiking one place, or at this park. And okay, so this is my first marriage, and now I'm also going to share with you about my my third marriage. So my first marriage, I wanted to go for a walk. My husband at the time didn't want to. I'm like, okay. So I started to get my shit together. I started to get the strollers, the snacks, the kids. And he's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go to the park. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because I want to go to the park. And he's like, well, I'm not going. I'm like, I know you never want to do shit. You always just want to watch TV and play video games. So I started to leave, and he got all pissed off and then got his shit together, like literally and metaphorically, and came with me. I'm like, you didn't have to come with me. He goes, well, I just didn't want you going to the park by yourself because this isn't a safe place. I said, I come here all the time. You just don't realize it. And the third marriage, I was going to go again to this other park, same kind of general vicinity. And I'm like, hey, do you want to go hiking with the boys and I? And he's like, nope. I'm like, all right. And he just assumed that I would just sit there around the house and just wait and just wait. And I didn't. I got my stuff together, and I'm like, all right, guys, come on. And he was like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going hiking at Redbud Valley. And he's like, well, just wait. Give me 10 minutes. And I'm like, all right. And he decided to come, and it was kind of a pain in the ass having him there because it was like well, just because. I'm not going to go into it. But anyway, so it's interesting because there's people in your life that will hold you back. And they really take offense when you, as an individual, want to do things outside of yourself or outside of a relationship. The thing about relationships is, and yes, I know I've had 3 marriages and 3 divorces, and some people say, well, who are you to give relationship advice? I think I'm a very good person because I keep trying. I went through marriage therapy and marriage counseling every single marriage I was in. I've been through Codependency Anonymous. I have worked on relationships and about relationships. And I know people, I know several big name people who their platform is built on relationships and love and all this other stuff, and they've been in marriages for 20 plus years, and they're miserable. They're miserable. But they stay in their marriage because that's what their business is based off of. So just because you're in a long-term relationship does not mean you know how to be in a relationship and that relationship is healthy. So here's my relationship, little something, and I'm actually going to take out, let me see, hang on. Let me get my pen. I'm actually going to show you something. And this is something I learned pretty much from every single therapist I've ever been to about marriages and relationships. And so why am I talking about relationships when I'm talking about bullshit? Because a lot of relationships have a lot of bullshit in them. Okay, so this is you. This is your partner. This is the time you're together. You should have your own life, your own set of friends, your own activities that fill you up. This is your partner. They should have their own friends, their own activities, their own life that fill that person up. Reason being is because if it's like this, if you spend literally like all your time together, y'all are going to get sick of each other. Y'all aren't going to have anything to talk about, and y'all are going to start feeling resentful and bitchy and start hating each other. That's just the way it is. However, if you live like this, 2 totally separate people, and just come together to have sex, well, that's no relationship. So this literally is the beautiful picture and illustration of how to have a really good symbiotic, healthy relationship. And the thing is that I was codependent in all 3 of my marriages. So they were doomed from the start. I also married codependent people, which made it even worse because then it was doomed from the start. And so finally, after 3 marriages, 3 divorces, and then a train wreck of a relationship after my divorce, I realized I'm just going to stop dating. And I call bullshit on myself. I call bullshit on my therapists because everything that I was doing, everything that I was working on didn't work. I was working on communication. Okay, well, I was a better communicator, but the person that I was trying to communicate with ignored me and didn't listen and didn't even care what I had to say. And so after I noticed self-destructive behavior, after I noticed that the people that I were with were stonewalling me, were very condescending, belittled me, all these other things. I'm like, I need to call bullshit on myself. Why the hell am I putting up with this? Why the hell am I putting up with this bullshit? This is stupid, you know? I wasn't stupid. I'm not stupid, but the concept of what I was putting up with, I had to call bullshit on myself. I'm like, this is bullshit. Nobody deserves to be treated this way. Nobody deserves to be treated this way. So I just stopped dating. I'm like, I'm not going to date anymore. And I stopped doing self-help in relation to my relationships and started to just wait. And I said, all right, peeps, show me a better way. Show me a better way, because what I'm doing is not freaking working. And I stopped, and I allowed myself to basically just stop the madness. And then I was talking with a friend of mine, and she said one question. She asked me one question. It was kind of a statement / question. And she goes, you do realize that you're codependent, right? Because we got on the topic and subject of relationships. And I was like, what's codependent? I mean, I'd learned it in my coach training, but it was just kind of a passing topic that we looked at briefly, but we didn't really study it in depth. And so what I did was I Googled it, and I found coda.org, which is codependencyanonymous.org, and recognized and looked at the patterns and characteristics. Well, half of them I'm like, yep, that's me. And the other half I'm like, oh my God, this is everybody I've ever been married to and everybody I've ever been in a relationship with. And I was like, holy hell, what the hell? And I was like, yes, I'm codependent. And she's like, seriously, I've never seen anybody happy to be codependent. I said, you don't understand. This is my ticket to freedom. This is the solution I've been waiting for. And when I called bullshit on myself and stopped the madness and gave myself permission to be open to a better solution, to a better way, that is when I found the better way. That's when I found the solution to the bullshit in my life. And the bullshit, the one thing that was fucking everything else up was my relationships. Everything else up. And so when I finally stopped and said, I'm just going to stop the madness here. I'm just going to stop being in relationships. Intimate relationships. Because that's the only place that I was codependent with. And I fixed the rest of me and gave myself permission to be open to a better way. That's when the bullshit started to, that's when the virtual elephant in the room started to shit in the room. And I'm like, okay, now I have to deal with this. And now I have to deal with this. And now I have to deal with this. And the one thing that was absolutely a miracle of all of this is that when I discovered I was codependent and started to work the 12 steps of codependency, I did relapse like literally right away. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. And then I was like, well, shit, maybe not. And then I'm like, I really need to take these steps seriously. And I started to do my work about my bullshit. Then all of a sudden, I recognized that a family member was bullying me. And she was bullying pretty much everybody else in the family. But everybody else was just, burying their head in the sand, which I had as well, which was enabling her to just keep on keeping on, bullying and being mean to pretty much everybody. Where everybody would walk on eggshells and just tell her what she wanted to hear just to get her to be quiet or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not okay with this. I am not okay with this. And so over a couple of days, I wrote a very tactful, very concise email. And I basically said, hey, I am done with our relationship. I'm no longer going to communicate with you. And that was the second biggest elephant in the room. That's the one that I had been ignoring for over 20 years. And then the next elephant in the room that was the bullshit piece that I really had to call bullshit on myself was that I really needed to get over myself and come clean with someone, with a family friend, because I had an affair with her husband like 15 or 16 years ago. And I thought she knew already because she had, over the years, said some comments that made me think that she knew. Especially a couple weeks before I even, spoke to her about this. She made a comment that it was like, yep, she knows. But I had been holding it in. I hadn't been sharing it with anybody except for a therapist or whatever. And when I made amends with her through the, 12 steps Dakota, one of the steps is to make amends. And I thought she knew that's why I made amends with her verbally. Otherwise, I probably just would have made amends to my higher power and myself and whatever. But, so I told her, and she was like, huh. I said, you didn't know? She goes, no. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Well, after I made amends with her, after that, she proceeded to go onto Facebook and share things that were not true. She shared about my affair, but then she also shared things that were not true. But she blocked me so I couldn't see it and I couldn't defend myself. And I was like, well, all right, that's what I did. I'll own it. I'm owning it now, sharing it with her anyway. And so I went on my page and said, well, so-and-so mentioned this, and yes, it is true. Now, she's a close family friend, so of course the entire family is seeing all my dirty laundry. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. I'm owning it. I'm not proud of it, but hey, it happened. And it's part of it. That made me who I am today. And so facing your bullshit can be hard. It can be messy. It can be scary. It can be also, on the other side, fucking exhilarating, because what happens is when you finally face the bullshit, you finally have the freedom from the bondage that you felt from that freaking virtual elephant in the room. You literally finally have freedom from it. And since I addressed those two big elephants, well, there was an elephant in the room and then the skeleton in my closet. Once I addressed those two things and realized that one thing that was fucking everything else up in my life was my codependency, and I dealt with it, my life has never been better. I have felt so alive, so free. Like seriously, I feel like I have my life back. I literally feel like I have my life back. And this is one of the reasons why I created my Bullshit Eliminator 30-day reboot experience, because so many people have been coming to me lately with bullshit upon bullshit upon bullshit upon bullshit. And they're either afraid to deal with it, or not willing to deal with it, or have no freaking, they're just like, I don't even have a clue on how to even start to deal with this bullshit. And so every year I do a summer group coaching program. And last year I did one on stress management. The year before that I did one on anxiety. The year before that I did one on, I think it was boundaries. And so this year's summer group coaching is called the Bullshit Eliminator, the 30-day reboot experience. Clear the excuses and live a life you love. Now, some of the questions that I've gotten about this are, okay, Flora, what if I'm not ready to tackle the big freaking elephant in the room? Because that shit's going to open up a huge can of worms, and I'm not ready for that. So, with that I say, you don't have to deal with the biggest elephant in the room first. What I typically do with my, like private coaching clients is we tackle the tiny elephants, those tiny little pieces of bullshit in your life. And what that does is it builds momentum and courage and confidence so that you can tackle then that big elephant in the room. So you don't have to deal with the biggest elephant in the room when you're in this program with me. You can choose to deal with a smaller piece of bullshit. Okay? I'll give you an example of a small piece of bullshit. And bullshit is anything that throws you out of your happy place, that kicks you out of the flow, that you're just putting up with. And this is like a really small piece of bullshit, but it was a piece of bullshit. So when I first moved into this house 4 years ago, so in Oklahoma, the, like cat litter box was in the garage. Now this might seem very trivial to a lot of people, and it is, but this just goes to show you what kind of bullshit that we all put up with. So the cat litter box was in the garage, and at this new place, there's no, dog door going into the garage, and so we have the cat litter box downstairs. Well, my room's downstairs, the other family room's downstairs, and there's another bedroom, and so there's just a whole bunch of stuff downstairs. So, but every time I would walk downstairs to do something, I would see cat litter on the floor, and I'm like, ugh! And it would piss me off, and I'm like, oh my God, but I didn't do anything about it for like over a year. I didn't do anything about it, except for get pissed and bitch and moan and complain about it, and I'm like, oh my God, I freaking hate that there's cat litter. And, my, one son was supposed to sweep it up every day, and he didn't because he's a kid, whatever. And so finally, I was just feeling really overwhelmed one day, and so I did this exercise, which I'm going to teach all of you about in the BS Eliminator program, or the Bullshit Eliminator program. And I did this exercise, and I realized that the top thing that I was stressed out about was a stupid cat litter on the floor. And I'm like, this is so fucking trivial. Excuse my French. This is so trivial. What the hell? And I'm like, okay, what's one thing that I can do right now that can address this, that will get rid of this problem? And I'm like, go buy some rugs to put underneath the cat litter so that it will catch it, so that it won't be on the hardwood floor. So I did that. I literally got in my car. I had to get dressed first. I got in my car. Hang on. I got in my car and I drove to a local store. And I found these rugs. And I duct taped them together because I needed a certain square footage. And they were beautiful rugs, but they were like only half the size. I was like, dang it. So that's okay. So I literally duct taped them together on the back side so you can't see it. I swept up the cat litter, and I put the rugs down, and I put the cat box on it, and I'm like, oh, you know, like the angels were singing, and the clouds opened up, and the sun shone down on me, and I was like, yay, no cat litter on the floor. And since then, I have not had an issue with this stupid cat litter. This is, yes, it's so trivial. It is so trivial. But that's a tiny piece of bullshit that we put up with every day. These little random little bits of things in our life that keep us from being happy. These are excuses. Well, the cats have to poop, so I have to have a cat litter box. Well, no, actually, if I wanted to, I could train them to use the toilet. Really. And so we tell ourselves these excuses. My ex-husband refused. So, okay, so this was one of the final straws that broke the camel's back. And then I will leave you for the day because I've been on here for 22 minutes, I just realized. So, the final straw in my marriage, my third marriage, we were at this big ball. It was this fabulous, like, black tie extravaganza. It was gorgeous. They had big band music there, which is my favorite. And all night, I had this beautiful dress on, and all night I was like, oh, please, can we dance? I was, like, asking my husband at the time this. I said, oh, please, I want to dance, I want to dance. He's like, no, 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 no. Wouldn't dance, wouldn't dance, wouldn't dance. Excuse me. And finally, at the very end, we're getting ready to leave. My favorite Michael Bublé song came on. And I was like, oh my God. And I like was standing in front of him, and the whole table's worth of people were still sitting at the table or standing getting ready to go. And I was holding my husband's hand, and I said, please, can we dance to this, please? And he goes, no. And he, like, refused to dance. Now, mind you, every other year that we have gone to this, they didn't have big band music, but they had music, and he danced with me. But he knew my favorite type of music was big band, and he knew Michael Bublé was my favorite. And here we are, big band, ballroom, black tie, dressed to the nines, my favorite Michael Bublé song on, and he refused to dance with me. Because he was manipulating me, he was trying to control me into submission or whatever the hell he was trying to do. All he was doing was pushing me away. And the looks of pity, literally pity, because he was standing with his back to the table, and I was standing, and okay, so he was facing the dance floor, and I had my back to the dance floor and was facing the crowd, basically, because we were at one of the first tables. And the looks of pity that I got from the people at the table, because they saw me saying, please, please, please just dance with me. Just dance with me. And he refused. He refused. And I'm like, this is effing bullshit. I want to be married to a partner, to someone who wants to dance with me, literally and metaphorically. And I'm getting a little bit emotional because it's, ugh. I mean, who does that to their life partner? Really? And I was like, that was the end. That was the end. I'm like, after that, I could have given a shit. I'm like, whatever. Do whatever you want, you know? And that was that final piece of bullshit that I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, because it's my truth. It's my reality. So where in your life are you putting up with bullshit that is defeating and deflating you, that is that is making you feel less than. He always made me feel like a less than of a person, of someone who didn't deserve or wasn't worthy of a healthy, happy partnership. And that's bullshit. Everybody deserves to be happy. Everybody deserves to have a life partner who will give 100% and who will honor those things that you love and enjoy. So, since then, I have dealt with my bullshit. I have worked through the steps of Codependency Anonymous, and I will never, ever deal with or put up with that type of bullshit in a relationship. And I want the same for you. I really want the same for you. I want you to be happy. Like, ridiculously happy. Like, right now in my life, I feel so free. I feel so happy and so peaceful about so many things. And that's what I want for you, but you have to deal with your bullshit. You have to say, I deserve more. I deserve better than this. And I want to be happy. I want to genuinely, truly be happy. Now, bullshit comes in a totally different look. I mean, bullshit comes in putting up with a weight problem. Bullshit comes with putting up with an addiction, like drugs or alcohol or sex or shopping or social media, whatever. Bullshit comes in so many different ways and so many different masks and faces. And how you can identify what your bullshit is that really is holding you back is look at the one thing, excuse the vernacular, the one thing that's fucking everything else up in your life. And if you are ready to finally call bullshit on yourself and call bullshit on other people in your life, then now's your time. Now is your time to finally say, hey, I deserve better. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be happy. I want you to finally deal with your bullshit. Because like I said, it wasn't until I dealt with my bullshit that I finally felt happy. Like truly and deeply happy in my life. And I want you to ask yourself, do I want to feel happy today? Do I want to feel alive? Do I want to feel free? In my finances, in my relationships, with my weight, with my health, whatever it is that that is holding you back, do you want to feel happy? If so, it's time to do something about it. And this is one of the reasons why I created my 30-day reboot experience. So if you're ready to eliminate the bullshit and clear the excuses in your life so that you can finally live the life that you love, that I want you to reach out to me and share with me what bullshit that you have. Actually, I'm gonna put in the comments below. I'm gonna put in the comments a link to the BS Eliminator or the Bullshit Eliminator 30-day reboot experience so that you can take a look at it. And if you have any questions, please email me. Reach out to me. Flora@florsage.com. Reach out to me. Let me know what bullshit you've been putting up with in your life. Some of you that I see in the comments have already signed up for the 30-day experience. Oh my gosh, yes, it's gonna be amazing. Let me see, Jen, we've got Jacqueline says, yes, me and Sean felt that way with outside people and have taken it out of our life. We feel so much better. Yay! Haley says, I call bullshit on myself this week, but by actually accepting that codependency is a real issue in my life. And then it's a good thing to realize. Yay! Well, the thing that I was excited about, Haley, when I realized I was codependent, to me that was so freaking exciting because I realized that was a solution to my problem. That was a solution. But it wasn't until I called bullshit on myself and gave myself permission to recognize actually what was the problem. And that's the thing that I'm going to teach you how to do is I'm going to teach you how to recognize what thing to tackle first in your life so that you can start to see results, so that you can start to be happy and start to feel more in control. Because that's the thing, is that when we have bullshit in our life, we feel out of control. We feel like that we're doing something wrong. We feel like, what is wrong with me that I can't fix this? And we keep trying and trying and trying. We keep spinning our wheels and not going anywhere. And so, yay! I'm so glad that you discovered this. Yay! Betty, hello, hello, Shauna, hello, Cora. Yes, that diagram example is something that literally is it's probably in every single marriage or relationship book. And that's the one through line that is so amazing because it's so true. And so many people in relationships feel like they have to spend 24 hours together. I gotta tell you, that's the #1 way to get sick of each other because you have to have your own life. When you first start seeing each other, that is how you live your life anyway. You have other outside experiences, so when you come together, you can connect on a different level and you can share your experiences. What a beautiful thing. So thank you, Cora. I'm glad that you like that. Amy said, agreed. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Bianca. Woohoo. Hi, iMac. Hey, Flora. Thank you for sharing. You are great. Oh, you're so welcome. Hi, Jeannie. Haley said, thank you for sharing that. My husband was the same way. Ugh. I call bullshit on all the people that do that. That is such crap. Jeannie said, don't worry, hun. Or, I'm sorry, like, don't be sorry, hun. Kelly said, thank you for sharing something so raw to help others. Well, you're welcome. You know, that's the thing is that a lot of the times people are afraid to be vulnerable and they're afraid to share. Well, they're just afraid to share, and nobody's perfect. Everybody has crap that we go through, and we're all in this together. So you're welcome. Amy said, good for you. You stood in your power. Yes, I did. Shauna, really? I've known you like almost my entire life. You deserve the world, my dear friend. Love you bunches. Yay, I love you too. Oh, I miss you. Bianca, you're so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. You're so welcome, Bianca. Jeannie, word. I call BS on myself. I am the problem, but I am also the solution. Yes, you are, Jeannie. So, if you want to, whoops, I need to move my chair. Ah, I'm blinded by the light. Just kidding. Random songs always pop in my head. Okay, if you're interested in joining the Bullshit Eliminator 30-day reboot experiences, clear the excuses, and live the life you love, click the link below. Sign up today. If you sign up today, so next week it's going to go up to $197. So sign up so that you can get $100 off and you can lock in the $97 price for this 30-day reboot experience. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. Also, send me an email. Reach out to me, flora@florasage.com. Let me know what your biggest piece of bullshit is in your life, and how it's been affecting you. Because that's the thing is that when you are in a summer group coaching program with me, I tailor it to the people that are in the program. So when you sign up, email me. Say, hey, I just signed up. I'm pumped. I'm freaking excited. This is the bullshit that I'm dealing with. Because literally I tailor it to the people that are in the program. I give you actionable tools, actionable steps, doable steps. I'm not going to give you some freaking pie in the sky thing that's not going to be achievable, that's going to be too freaking like out there. No, I give you practical tools that you can use right away. Like literally when you hang up the call with me, you can start using them right away to see results. So if that's you, which I know it is because you're still watching this, click the link, join the program, email me, let me know what you want to work on. And I'll see you on the 19th. We start on the 19th. We go through July 11th. We meet for 4 weeks. It's going to be epic. So if you're ready for change, if you're ready to eliminate the bullshit in your life, clear the excuses, and live a life you love, it's time to join the 30-day reboot experience today. So I love you all. I'll see you on the inside. Mwah! Have a fabulous Friday. Yay!